Hi, welcome to our second webinar videos. This is a series of video information about gender-based violence, a collaborative event by YouthLEAD, YPEER Asia Pacific, and also UNZIP the Leads. So after the last week first video session, we already talked about the understanding of the sexual harassment in the workplace, particularly for the young key affected women and girls. Today, we're going to be your host for the second video webinar, which is we're going to talk about
the law and the policy to respond to sexual harassment.
Alright, and my name is Tia Perdana from YouthLEAD, together with
Nanjie from YouthLEAD as well.
We're going to be your host for the next 15 minutes for this thematic topic. So Nancy, let's start about this topic. I want to ask you about the legal and the policy framework in the Asia Pacific countries. Is there any example of a good practice in any countries across Asia Pacific right now?
Sure. Actually, I did some homework before I joined this webinar.
Good.
So even though I come from China, but I still want to introduce a case from the Philippines, because as some of our friends know that Philippines has a very good progress to respond to sexual harassment, especially at the working place and the education training, and also like under the unbalanced relationship. So this case is actually from 2000 until 2010, which takes like quite long time, like 10 years. So this case is like the first case after the Filipino Senate banned the act to respond to sexual harassment. So this case is actually involved a municipal assessor named Vikaya and the 3 females during the 2000 until 2002. So it's like during these 2 years, he actually tried to harass 3 of his co-workers. Then some of them got the notes say that do you want to have date with me, or some others. Then basically later on the last one, we call it victims, actually plead this case to the administrative and the human resources office. Then later on this case come out. Among the process of this victim, or including like 3 victims, try to complain with the different procedure, internal the department, outside, and to the court.
Right.
It takes like 8 years.
8 years. Wow, that's a long case.
Very long process to get it. The most important thing is, as we all know from our first session, that the sexual harassment is very private.
True.
It means that it's really hard for the victims and to collect the proper evidence to show or to indicate with the court and judge said that there is a proper sexual harassment behaviors there. Then this is the first challenge for the victims and the complaints. And another one is somehow the act itself, I mean the law framework or the policy framework, try to involve the employers, the enterprise, I mean the companies, institute into this case resolution. Which means that there will be like 2 different dynamic to intervene in this case. One, definitely the government or court to the judicial way. And another, we call it an administrative way, means the people belong to the institute have kind of rights and the power to say how they can figure out this issue under the table. So this is actually also a very big challenge for the victims. When the victim really want to hold their position, hold their benefit from their institute, then the administrative sanction always come come over to the governmental or the judicial procedure.
Sure.
And this is why many of the cases of the sexual harassment cannot be reported publicly, properly, because they don't want to lose their benefit and interest from their company and the enterprise.
Right.
Well, this is the big challenge for our law framework to respond as well, because most of the time this Philippine case is a very good example, because this case come to the court, to the judicature, and later on the case, the victim win a bit, which is good. But most of the case in other countries, there we don't have a very particular special act or the law to respond to sexual harassment. Then it means that the lawyer can just come to help to check out the different type of the act, to find the keywords of the sexual harassment, or even no words, only like component of the sexual harassment, and try to help the complaints. Then there is a very high possibility to lose the bid. Then this is very common to many countries. Like from my country, we only have one terminology, say sexual harassment, in the law of women's protection. Means that only women and girls can be considered as a potential target of the sexual harassment, which means that the men and boys is excluded. Then another case is like, for example, the Australia government have the specific commission to accept the complaints under the governmental way, not the judicial way. So it means that different countries have a different scenario, but for the legal and policy framework of the sexual harassment is still very low pace of the progress.
Okay, good. So despite of, well, I said before, we still face a lot of difficulties, in reporting the sexual harassment case, in particular in the workplace. First, you said about it's really hard to collect the evidence to show that actually this is a criminal act happened in the workplace. Second, sometimes our law is still biased as well, But many times I also observe actually when it comes into the sexual harassment cases in the workplace, there's many cases where it's finally not solved because the law itself is still cannot to criminalize the perpetrator. So can you tell me more about this?
You mean it cannot be reported or resolved proper?
Right.
Yes. Basically, there's many barriers if we go through the judicial process. First one, especially for the people who are very vulnerable because of the economic, because of the education and knowledge, then they have no awareness to seek the legal aid from the lawyer. Then this is a very common issues to the marginalized and vulnerable group, including our community. And another issues, as what I said, people, then sexual harassment is actually very tricky and very hard to refine and define actually, even though there's many different documents try to articulate the definition of the harassment. But it's totally depend on the two individual or even like more individuals feeling their intention. Then the intention comes to be very tricky because somehow, according to our understanding, their behaviors, the opposite people's behaviors, give to express some feeling to us. Maybe there's a misunderstanding. then it can be a harassment. However, this intention and understanding cannot be indicated where with evidence, right? Because there's a lot of moral, a lot of different cosmetic like way to think about. That's why, in the lens of the judicature, for the law or even for the very expert people to think through the case, it's really hard for them to get a very powerful and a very good chain of the evidence to persuade the judge believe that there is exactly the sexual harassment there. That's why there's a lot of case even reported. I mean the victim very bravery to report to public cannot be solved. Yes, again, the evidence is a very big deal.
True. And when it comes, as you said before, when it comes into the vulnerable group, the marginalized group like young kids, like women and girls, it's more difficult for them. Yes, thank you, Nancy, for the explanation. Despite of there's so many challenges when we come into the sexual harassment reporting cases. I also observe there's a challenge in the term of the criminalization of perpetrator. Can you explain me about that?
Yes. So unfortunately, until now, basically I can say no countries in the world ever criminalized the sexual harassment, because you know the different levels of the sexual harassment it is, like the sexual assault, rape, then the
terrible everything.
Different way, the different scenario. But I want to say actually there's a different crime cover the components of the sexual harassment. For example, I want to use another case in China recently that a parent, a mother and a child, a boy, was kidnapped by the group. Then actually it's like a very typical crime of the kidnap. However, during the time, then one of the offendant actually showed the sexual organ to the mother. So it's exactly the sexual harassment.
True.
However, it's according to the different criminal laws and different criminal frame, then this kind of case, this kind of behavior, sexual harassment, will be picked up from the main umbrella of the crime, like kidnap, for example, in this case. Then there will be like two crimes during the time, then the people will be sentenced with two separate crimes.
Right.
Yes, that's why I want to mention here there is many type of the crime, including intimidation, kidnap, fraud, rape, defamation, murder, assault. This kind of the crime sometimes very easily to attach with the components of the sexual harassment. So the people who feel they are targeted by the crime, then they have to concern about some details of the behavior of the sexual harassment and report it and collect the evidence properly.
Thank you so much. And we would like to ask you to also share about your stories. Maybe you have another law framework in your country level about the sexual harassment. We would like to hear about that. And if you have any question, experience, please feel free to put your comment in the comment section below. And Nancy will be happy to answer that question tomorrow evening at 4 p.m. And I think that's all about our today's session. It's really exciting. In the next video webinar series, we're going to talk about empowerment, how to give a skill, capacity, empowering process to the most affected community to be able to respond on the sexual harassment cases. So that's about today. We'll see you next day and also next week in the next webinar video.
Yeah.
See ya.